Segment destinations. So this is the real power when it comes to segment and the value that can provide your business. Data is just interesting if all you do is collect it and don't action it. It is not useful, it is not helpful, it is merely interesting. Maybe you have some insights, but if you don't do anything about it, what is the use? And so this is where destinations come into play. And I wanted to kind of briefly talk about what they are, what's available, how to use them, how to set them up, and just illustrate how easy it really can be to get up and running very quickly and start taking actions on the customer data that you're collecting. So what we have here is again segment documentation. This provides an overview of destinations and what's available. It kind of discusses a little bit about the difference. Again, the main thing to know here is really your ability to action the data based on whatever your use case is and what it is that you're trying to do. It goes into a lot of detail that I think is probably not necessary. It talks a little bit how to go through the setup. I think what's more interesting is if we take a look at the catalog. So the catalog is going to contain all of the out of the box things that you would care about. You'll notice that they have a number of different categories. If we actually look on the right hand side, it talks through all of the categories available. So it's going to be things like advertising, analytics, attribution, really useful when it comes to marketing. It can be CRMs if you're trying to enrich your CRM to help inform your employees and your specialists that are actually engaging with customers. It can be incredibly helpful for email marketing, live chats, empowering live chat interactions, marketing automation and campaigns, enriching audiences and sending data downstream to omni-channel, i.e., emails, SMS, phone, push notifications, all of those types of things. And then finally, you can actually export the raw data as well. So this is really helpful if you're trying to aggregate a lot of data, dump it into one location, and then enable your business units to then build out reporting, build out custom dashboards that actually are built on the full view of what's going on on with the customer, and not just an isolated silo of data that typically would be available. I think the most interesting integration I've worked with is probably Braze. This is a new sort of marketing automation platform that enables you to do omni-channel pretty easily. You can do emails, you can do push, you can do content cards on web, you can do SMS. So by sending the data to one place, i.e., segment, building an audience in segment based on whatever interaction that you're trying to have, then can leverage a tool like this to then drive all of your communications across multiple channels and have a cohesive, coherent strategy for that particular segment of customers. So this goes into the ins and outs, a lot of technical details, which I don't think is as interesting. What I do want to talk through is if we look at an example here, I'm actually going to pull a view into Braze. Let's go ahead and open this up. You can have multiple different sort of connections. And we're actually going to look at, actually, if I back out of this really quick, we can actually see just how easy it is to stand up one of these integrations. So you simply just click add. You can then search for whatever it is that you want to integrate with, and then you click on whatever that is, you hit configure, and it'll actually stand up that endpoint and then start to ask you to configure that specific destination. But in the absence of that, I'm not going to just create a new one. Let's back out of here and let's go look at one of our test connections for Braze here. And we are going to look at some of the ins and outs of what's available here. So, a couple key features on destinations that are really helpful. This actually just came out. You can see that the delivery overview is in beta right now. So, new feature, new view on how events are flowing through and what's actually getting to the destination. And then you can see, are things failing? Are things getting filtered? Are they filtered at the source? Are they filtered at the destination? So on and so forth. And what's actually getting to the destination. Filters is again how you control the data that's being sent, what's being sent, and ensuring, in one use case, PII management is really important. So you don't want to be sending private PII that you want to keep very secure. Social security would be a good example, email address. You don't want every destination to consume this data. And you can actually filter this and send only specific events or specific aspects of these events to destinations as a result of that. Mappings is incredibly powerful because this actually allows you to define how the data elements are mapped from one system to the next. So if things need to be modified or transformed, you can do that here. If you want to take specific values and map them to however the destination is expecting to receive those, you can do that through here as well. Event Tester is just a handy tool to ensure that when you set these things up, it is performing as you would expect. You can actually build alerting. This is incredibly important when it comes to critical aspects of the business that you need to ensure are working well, making sure that data is getting to where it needs to go, making sure that things are working as expected. Let's say you have a e-commerce business and you generally see some number of purchases on a given day. You can build alerts around that. If you see that it drops to 0 or some level lower than what you typically see in an average day, you can be alerted immediately that something's wrong, something's broken, a button's broken, engineers deployed a bug, the site's down, whatever the scenario may be. It'll alert the appropriate parties and get the team taking action more quickly to ensure that things are working as expected. Event delivery is another aspect where you get a more detailed view on successful event delivery. If things are failing, why are they failing? And if you need to make some adjustments in the great integration, how you might be able to do that. I'm not going to crack open settings because there would be some specific API keys and things like that involved there. But that's essentially where you do the configuration for your specific platforms. And again, Segment has really good documentation on how to set all of these things up. So I would instruct you or encourage you to go back to the documentation as there are questions. You can search here, troubleshoot, or reference any number of videos that Segment or YouTube might offer you. But again, I think the last thing I would say is again, sources and the collection of data is step one. What you want to do with that data is step two. And then how you want to action it is step three, and actually building the mapping between the sources, the destination, and getting the right data to the right location so that you can make the right decisions, whether it's about how the business is performing, where to focus, or how you want to be engaging with customers to drive more conversion, more engagement, stronger tie to your business and your brand.